welcome to our channel.
No, it is not a channel. Literally, this is not a channel. But welcome to our live cast.
On Urban Life in the building.
So I don't know if you guys can tell how we've been starved of. I haven't seen you in I haven't seen you in how long? A month and a half, going to 2 months.
Yeah.
So yes, we have been social distancing, and in line with that, please let us all sanitize.
Just get your sanitize your laptop, sanitize your phones, you know?
Yeah, so welcome to our live cast. So just in case you don't know where you are, you are on Urban Live Events, live chat and feed. Thank you to all the guys joining us on Facebook, on Instagram. We can see you logging in.
Yeah.
So our discussion for today, and even before I think we get there, maybe we do a round of introduction.
Yes.
So do you want to go first?
Yep. So my name is Susan Ogutu. I am a team member of Urban Live Events, and I am the events coordinator.
And I am Melissa Yumbia. I'm the lead decor stylist. So just a bit about what we do at Urban Live Events, in case you don't know. We are event decor and design specialists.
Yep.
So what that means is look and feel for your event. Lighting, tents, tables, chairs, flowers, all the little details that just make people feel extra special, that communicate the couple's
their persona and their personalities, basically. So that means from church, reception, your evening wedding. If you have an engagement shoot, we are the people to call. You can say we are wedding doctors.
So just a quick differentiation, because we really get a lot of questions from couples who can come to us and they're like, oh, we're looking for an event planner. So the difference between a decor and event stylist and a planner is a planner essentially will help you through a lot of the details from selecting your vendors, selecting your venues, caterers, dates, and the coordinating your program. So there's like a host of things that happen between yes I do and actually
and
yes I do yes to the engagement and
then now the D-Day.
Yes I do.
Yes.
So that is the major difference between us. So they walk the whole journey with you from start to finish. We collaborate with them in terms of the vision, putting it together on the day and just making everybody feel what the couple is about.
Yes, and we collaborate with more other vendors as well. So it takes a village.
Oh yeah,
to actually make sure that your day is great and awesome.
Yeah. So our topic for today is planning a wedding in the era of COVID-19.
Drum rolls, please.
Hey, this Corona, aka Miss Rona. It's like 40 years.
Like COVID, if you are saying COVID, you are more educated. And then Corona is for us, the normal people. Then now Miss Rona is for the hipsters.
So because you're all hip and you're here live, we shall put you in the Miss Rona category. So you made it to the cool kids section.
Yes.
So we'll just jump into just a bit of statistics in terms of what the effects have been for us in the events industry.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, imagine between January and March, because remember this thing started globally from November of last year. So we as the events industry began to feel the effects already from the multinationals that we work with or couples who are abroad and etc. So that actually and these statistics actually are powered by the Event Organizers Association of Kenya. They took the time to make us put 147 countries to take the companies to take the survey, and based on that, it's that between January and March, 110 million in terms of revenue has been lost in the industry. We've had a total of 921 events cancelled.
I think the money for the artists should have
come to us. So if you think our industry actually is a multi-billion industry. That's the truth. And in 2018 only, our spending in terms of in weddings was coming up to 30 billion Kenya shillings. So it's not this effect, that's just one industry. We can only imagine what the ripple effect has been across the industry. So just some quick facts, and then now we can go back into what that has looked for a lot of the couples that we've seen.
Yeah.
So what's that looking like? What you, based on the people we've discussed, you're a bride, you're an upcoming bride. How's that looking like? How is Miss Corona affecting you?
So even before we get to the challenges that Miss Rona has brought on us, can we just look at even weddings before? What was the effect and how did couples get affected initially? So we can start with the big one, which is numbers. From us having the clan where our parents want to bring our forefathers, ancestors, and the fossils. Respect to all parents in this scenario. And then now you have friends from different parts of your, since you grew up, so childhood friends, you have people you've served with at work, ministries, different countries if you've traveled, and that means you have a specific number of people you'd want. And that means if the parents might want 800 people, you might just want 100 people, and you have a list you've written, and they're like, nope. Yeah. So that was the biggest effect initially. So we have many couples who come in for a meeting, and they're like, I want a 300 bucks wedding. And then when they go and come back the next time, they're like, nope, parents have said 1,000. What do you do? You know?
So the quick question, actually, we always ask couples when we get to that question of the numbers. It's always a quick one. So what are the number of people you're expecting? 300 bucks. So we always ask, is that the number for the couple only or the number plus the parents? Because we found situations when we're discussing and situation on the ground become two different things. When discussion, it was 300 bucks. On the ground, 1,500 bucks. Yeah. So it's important to get these two facts put together. Another issue I found is a big struggle, despite Corona, is time. Where weddings are usually, slotted in after hours. So it's between, it's after work hours or between your lunch hour or weekends. Yeah. So getting the couples to coordinate their work schedules to be able to have time to plan is genuinely a big task. So that has always been a problem.
Yeah. You might also find that there are some who actually have children and they are finding it a bit tough to actually come in for meetings or even go for site visits, checking out the venues and small nitty-gritties that are important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing is budget. Budget is always one of those, it's always a big elephant in the room that now Corona has come to push aside and say, I am taking that title very quickly.
Exactly.
So budget, one of the things is sometimes weddings end up being pretty quick. Like parents have given pressure, the wedding has to happen within a certain duration. The next would be,
you have planned this all your life. You have been saving, putting money.
You're the ideal couple.
And then the other one is you guys have just decided we want to do this. This is what we currently have, and we will just do it.
Yeah.
We won't plan for it. Let's just do it, get it over with.
Yeah.
So we'll see the effects of when Corona now showed up, or rather Miss Rona, when she showed up, what was the effect on the financial side of things?
Another thing becomes creativity in terms of like the look and feel, because it's very key to people to feel the presence of the couple on the day. It's their day.
Yeah.
So getting those two concepts to come together, and we found that the ladies 80% of the time will drive the conversation in terms of the look and feel. I guess maybe ladies are more, we're homely. We know we're hosting, so we really go all out to try and get. And then sometimes you just get a mental block in terms of what am I supposed to do at this time. There's too much.
Because we actually have two different types of brides. We have those who are over planners. Yeah. They put for you the mood board, they put together the color schemes, they have the nitty-gritties from centerpiece to the table placements to how they want the specific areas to look like. Then we have those who totally don't have any clue, have no idea what they want, and now it's our job to actually start walking the journey with them.
Which is amazing. Either of the two work well. If you know what you want, it's a much quicker conversation, then translating it is much better. If you don't, also the reason why we are called event and decor specialists, because then we can walk you through the journey to just kind of conceptualize that to come together. Suppliers and venues is another big thing.
Exactly.
And that's where we always encourage you, please. There's a distinct difference between an event planner and event decor suppliers. You need a decor, you need a planner to be able to walk you through the process to get all these things. And we can see some of them logged in. Hey everyone, we're seeing you joining in. Thank you for all the encouragement. We can see you, Dot. We can see Splendid Weddings. We can see La Vida. We're seeing so many people logging in. Welcome. Hello, all our friends and clients. Thank you for taking the time to join us.
Yes.
So just in case you're just joining in, we've delved into a couple of things in terms of introducing who we are.
Yeah.
And the discussion for today is wedding planning or planning your wedding in the era of COVID-19. What does that look like? We've just gone through the challenges of what that looks like beforehand, which is essentially time, budget, look and
finances as well.
Yeah.
And then even how it has affected suppliers and vendors.
Yeah. So now that we know what the impact has been on the industry and on couples, so I think now let's move to the other side because we just discussed what it looks like for a couple minus Corona. Now throw in Miss Rona. Then
let's just throw
so
her inside there.
now with those challenges, now when you throw in coronavirus, what that looks like is you've now moved from the numbers discussion is not even a discussion anymore because it's restricted to 50 people. Number two, registration. If you hadn't registered before they announced that it had hit Kenya, registry closed down. So if you didn't have your certificate beforehand, that's a challenge. You have to wait. They're actually not open. We had discussions with them.
Yeah.
They are waiting until the lockdowns are lifted.
Yes, until lockdowns are lifted, that's when now they can give consideration for the new applicants.
Yeah.
So right now, if you had registered before, you're good to go. Then I think the other effect is if you had chosen a different venue and then you decide now because it's a small number, now I want to take it to somewhere else. Let's say your first venue was Urban Life and then the other venue was Urban Life 2.0. So if you move it to 2.0, you cannot actually hold the wedding because you have to go back to the main venue that you had registered for.
So essentially what that means is if you had booked a venue and that's what you had put on your registry, they're pretty strict. You have to stick to that. If you try and get creative and try to move it elsewhere, trust me, the police right now are really looking for reasons to storm such locations. So that's not advisable. In fact, actually, you might have to even get a special permit from the police. That has always been there, but now they're really taking extra precautions so that you're able to identify how many people will you have there, what's the duration. So the option for that actually right now, I'm finding a lot of couples from the planners I've talked to are now moving to just having it in a small chamber with a pastor to just reduce things. The other problem was that reception had completely been cut out.
Yeah.
So having a reception after your wedding was completely cut out because restaurants had been closed down. So you couldn't share a meal or break bread with your guests because that wasn't an option. But we'll come to that in terms of the solutions because there's some things moving. Dates has been another problem because if you had a specific date for something, there was a time that there was nothing happening. So there are people who have already missed their wedding dates.
Yeah.
So that's another reapplication process. If it's coming, I know the families, we've had actually grooms and brides who are stuck because of the borders closing. So they're on the other side of the world,
Nairobi,
wherever they are.
the other one in Nakuru.
Yeah, and if that's the case for you, I mean, the options there, we're going to explore that in the solutions.
Yeah.
In terms of destination weddings, that's also a problem now.
Yeah.
Because as we know, there's a lockdown from county to county, so we are all stuck.
Not moving.
Yeah. Same thing for the participants, because even if it's those 15 people, if your parents live in Nyeri and you live in Nairobi,
how?
It's a wrap.
But unless we're doing a Zoom wedding.
Exactly. So
those are some of the things, and you can let us know in the comment section. Have you seen a Zoom wedding, or what have you currently experienced during this Corona season, Corona?
Yeah, and just as a note, if there's anything that you feel you'd like us to address, please just put it in the comment section. We'll be addressing all our Q&As at the end of the discussion. Yeah. So anything as we speak that you feel you'd like us to tackle, please put it in the comment section. We're really taking those notes down. We'll make sure that we cover everything. And hello again to those who are still joining us. So I think we've discussed what Miss Rona has thrown in as a couple in regards to wedding planning.
Exactly.
So with what it's looking like in the event space, with what it's looking like for couples, and just what this pandemic is looking like, what are some of the things that then couples can do? Because love needs to prosper. In fact, this business is music. Love makes the world go round.
Exactly.
How do we make this prosper in this time? And that's really what this discussion was about. Okay.
To give you solutions.
So I know all is not lost. You can still plan your wedding in the era of COVID.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little. Let's just backtrack, rewind, and go back to what the challenges were. Exactly. So number one was time. So because couples initially would not get synchronizing that time to be able to get time to speak to your different vendors, speak to us.
Exactly.
Then now is a good time because you're finding that you're working from home. You can actually be able to schedule your hours.
Exactly.
So you can select to have a Zoom date or a WhatsApp. You know, there's a lot of platforms that you can be able to work with your suppliers on. So this shouldn't stop you.
Google, the options are endless.
So it's a lot easier to actually get your partner. If you live with them, even easier to slot in a time. If not, same thing. Jump on a call. Let's plan. It's always gonna be helpful to just. It's easier to plan all those details now. Everything from the look and feel down to your budget. Agree on it, and all you need to do is just wait for things to calm down, and then you can pick a date.
Yeah, and I think now the question is: so if we are planning, what are we planning? What is the checklist looking like? You know, the things that we wouldn't ordinarily do, and now we need to do them so that we are more prepared after COVID is gone, or if we are now going to have the wedding later on in the year. And so that means, like, the first portion is church. So what will you do for church? The fundamental spaces that you actually need a look and feel for, and then the other items now. So aside from church, there's reception. Aside from reception, now you have to choose your vendors. So who will this be? So that means for the church, you need a florist, you need someone to bring chairs if your church section doesn't have benches and pews. Exactly.
So I guess other service providers beyond tents, tables, chairs, lighting, and those things that would be separate from what we do essentially would then be like your DJ, your sound system, and entertainment.
And how would your playlist look?
Catering, your tailors or dressmakers. I think, and essentially what the people that would be able to help you, again, walk through this would be planners. The reason why it's so essential to have a planner, they really take away the headache from things. And then it makes things a lot clearer. They're able to walk through the nuances with you. And we've seen a number of planners here. We will put up a blog post in terms of some of the people that we know in the industry who we've worked with. Then you're able to just look through, to just ease this process for you. So moving on to some of the other things that it would look like numbers. I believe that people are also getting special permits at the moment. So if it's really critical, like you're the parent of or you're the groom and bride and you need to meet in a certain destination that had already been pre-registered, I think there's something of that sort that can happen, but we will look into that and let you know as well. If all factors remain constant, that you're in the same place or same county that is, then you're able to move on. One of the things that has moved on, as we discussed, that we couldn't have a gathering to break bread or share a meal with your family. That has changed. Still sticking to the same 15 people, restaurants have now been opened. There's a long list of restrictions that they need to keep with in terms of social distancing, hygiene, and all those things. And actually, let's just remember to sanitize as we go along. So it's possible to actually now have a small gathering and have lunch afterwards. So hence the reason why we actually put this get up for you. So we'll actually post this video after and we'll take some shots of the setup we've done to show you what a social distancing dinner or reception would look like. No, maybe early dinner, because really you still need to be home by 7.
We don't want you running.
I know.
With the police behind you.
And in regards to planning, what would it look like time-wise in terms of setting a date? Your options are: 1, negotiate with your venue. because if something has changed, you can always go back to them and discuss.
Yes.
If you have to postpone your wedding, we would suggest that either later in the year, we're talking about October, November, December. Unfortunately, a lot of people plan for that, and that's high season. So should things open up, the options for you would be later in the year. And if you're doing later in the year, if you hadn't booked it in advance, there's a high likelihood all the weekends are taken. You might have to consider a weekday wedding.
Yeah.
Right? So that might have to be your option.
So
Number
it seems
two,
like it will be a new trend come December or November
for weekday weddings.
Yes.
The next would be to postpone it to next year. My personal suggestion, this is not anybody's, it's just my opinion, would be maybe to think about something from mid to end of next year, so that you're able to I read right now, I know if you're like me, you have been joining podcasts and all this matter of conspiracy theories on this will what this will look like. And a lot of it I heard that it's possible that there's no cure for this COVID-19, so there's possibility of reinfections and things.
Constant,
so there might be multiple lockdowns, who knows.
So that means we, even after we've been out on the clear, it means we need to keep sanitizing, keeping the distances, and even most probably we might just be a masked nation for a while now.
So what that looks like is pushing it further could be, you could have found that right now your finances have changed because maybe you're out of a job, or you now need to move all your resources back into how do I survive this duration until the next time, which is okay. If you push it a bit further, then you could always restart that wedding fund all over again. Then it gives you some more time to be able to push like this. And I'm seeing some of the comments. I can see Dot saying 15 people sounds like heaven. So yeah, it's true. If you'll be trying to cut down on those numbers and you can't agree on it with your in-laws, your parents, and this is the perfect time to have that 15 wedding.
Exactly, because you can now have it as intimate as you want, and then you can still have the same look and feel. Actually, smaller weddings, that means it will pop more
luxurious. You can spend on high-ticket items that wouldn't cost you a bomb because it's just for 15 people. So those weddings you've been pinning on Pinterest, that could be you.
It's very likely. Did you see the one where they were in a bush, and then it had, I think, 10 people, 5 on one side, 5 on one side, and then they were in the middle of the forest. And it has been making rounds on the internet. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's possible, guys.
It's
right
very,
now,
very possible.
This Rona has enabled you to actually
have the wedding of your dreams.
Exactly.
With 15 people.
Without fighting with anyone and your family division.
And you can say the government said.
Exactly.
It could be. It could be the time that the government is working for you in this time. So it's how to look over and above this. So
back
a quick recap would be push it to later in the year, negotiate with your venue. You might have to consider a weekday wedding, or two, move it to next year, more time to plan, more time to budget, and make it look exactly, especially if for you, numbers are a big thing. There are also those people who, for them, they're not seeing how they can have anything less than 800 people in their wedding. It's all right. We got you. So then you might have to think about next year if your date has already been affected.
Aside from those ones, we also have the guys who had destination weddings. We are really sorry, guys. It seems like destination weddings will be an issue for now.
But the ban will be lifted. So that's again another thing to think about. If it's destination, then it's likely to think about maybe end of the year or early or next year. Just so choose a safe period even for your own sanity. If it's like what? June, April, thereabouts. So you should have to think, but remember, April is rainy. Depends on where your destination is or how adventurous you'd like it to be.
And now speaking about next year, I think the other challenge would be 2022 is an election year. So that means even when you're postponing your wedding, it means you also have to think about these scenarios. So yes, the ban will be lifted, but now how will next year look like?
Another thing is, even when the ban is lifted in regards to there'll be either one of two things will happen to the numbers. If you proceed with having maybe a higher number of people, 200, 300, 500, 1,000, there'll either be one, people have been home for so long, they look forward to an outing. So everybody and their mama are going to be, and their neighbor are going to be at your function. So
the dresses we have been wishing to wear
are all coming out of the closet. So there's a possibility that the numbers could just spike. in terms of what you're expecting or anticipating. Or there might be that lethargy in terms of people getting out of that mindset of, oh, nitapata hiyo corona.
Exactly.
So there might also be a dip in your numbers as well. So there's also that preparedness in mind to have. I always say, work with the worst case scenario, which is higher numbers. You're always better off saving than making, planning for less people and then there's no food, and then it becomes a crisis. So the next thing is, how do you get prepared in this time? What we just talked about, this is the perfect time for the couple to be able to sit down, think about clearly what would we like this to look like, from church all the way to the reception.
Exactly.
What number of people would we want? What venue would we want? What kind of budget would we be looking at?
Exactly.
You can actually be able to lock all these things down during this time of silence, when all that noise is quieted down right now. And once you have your vision in terms of your look and feel and your budget ready, it's really just plug and play. It's really a matter of saying, ban is lifted, register, move. It makes your life much easier, because I anticipate that when the ban is lifted, people are going back to their offices. Hey, I feel like our bosses are really going to make sure we work for that money, or that time we'll be home.
So the things, and we understand that yes, there are some people who are actually working from home, but then the good thing is you have a specific, when you're home, it's easier to create a schedule that is consistent, that you can keep to. So that means you can either use mornings or you can use evenings. And if you have kids, then now maybe this is the time to put a whiteboard and tell the children to help you plan the wedding. It can be an exercise. Imagine if that can be homeschooling.
I know. So I'm seeing, and thank you guys, we're still seeing you joining. Thank you for all the love. And we're seeing some questions coming in already. So let me just look at some of the comments that are coming in from Instagram. I'm seeing Leon saying how Zoom weddings would be interesting. I wonder how catering would work. I think we just covered that by saying now the restaurants are kind of reopening. But in this Zoom, imagine if we had food here, we'd just be like, you are now partaking of,
let us cheers. We can cheers.
I know, we can cheers to lift your glasses. There's also actually the possibility of creating like a virtual background so that you're able to share that with your people, and it's like one of those Snapchat filters, and guys feel like they're in this, and now the setting has moved from this garden filled with wisteria and then
Or if you're feeling a bit extra, you can send some packages to your guests, and then when it's now time to break bread, you're like, guys, raise your glasses.
Actually,
good thing you can see them, because they won't keep that to eat later.
Actually, now is when you can think about what you'd have spent on possibly having a large number of people. You can invite the people that you wanted to have that special pack delivered to them. Courier services are part of the essential services, so you can actually put together a really nice cute bag, and this is where guys will do a lot of these gifts and things.
Gift bags,
in terms of even hampers, and so during each duration, guys can have their program, their fun, they can have their desserts, possibly a set
wine,
and your keepsakes. So it's a good time to also get creative with what you're also sharing with your
because it means now we are getting out of the norm of just having people eating with you. So what can you do with the new dynamics that have been presented before us? Well, and then we also had one who ate smoky pasua. For guys who don't know what smoky pasua is, you have a mandazi that is, I don't know how to explain what a mandazi is.
It looks like it's like
you the lower, and then you cut in between, put the smoky, kachumbari, tomato sauce. Yes. Guys, it is heaven.
It's like the evolution of smokies, because I know a smoky, you can just have a smoky on its own, or smoky with like the kachumbari, and it has evolved to mandazi. Right there.
That is a piece of heaven right there.
So,
or mayai boilo, boiled eggs with kachumbari, and that can just be the meal you take. I mean, for those who wanted to do unconventional things during their wedding, or just have people nyama choma. I mean, the list is endless.
It's true. Same thing and I'm seeing somebody saying, I can see Dot saying, Rona has given us the perfect excuse for spoil weddings. Yes, very true. I can see Dixon asking, what's your advice in regards to weddings if the client requests for their deposit back. I think the right thing to do would be, one, if the date has passed, the right thing to do would be to give back that budget, that money back.
Yeah.
Especially if they are not planning on having their wedding soon. But what we are really encouraging our clients, postpone, don't cancel.
Yeah, I think the other thing also that could protect you as a vendor as well is if you had a contract. And what does a contract say in that situation? That also means that even us as the vendors now, we need to look into some of these things. Do our contracts protect us during such unforeseen scenarios?
Yeah. I think a very good response to that also would be, we are nothing without our clients.
Yeah.
And they also, it's a very mutual relationship. So this needs to be something that you sit down, you discuss, and you agree. It could be that they're asking for their deposit back because maybe they've lost their jobs. So what happens in that scenario? There really needs to be a lot of discussion and collaboration because, like we said, we started off by giving the effects of what it's looking like to our in the events industry, and it's what it's looking like to the couple. So we both have to really work through this to get something that works. At the end of the day, relationships will carry.
Exactly.
So I believe there's nothing that dialogue cannot be able to sort out, and there needs to be both of us to listen to each other.
And they need to feel that we also care because, I mean, the whole point of holding weddings is because of relationship and family, carrying that along. So we need to, those are things to look into as well.
And I can see somebody commenting and saying, did you just post to sanitize? Yes, we did. And we're going to be doing that very frequently, actually. It is a sanitizer break, guys.
Hope you have sanitizer, even though you're calling us out.
So we're really interested to hear even your thoughts. Please share here what Miss Rona has meant to you guys in this time. We're really looking forward to hearing your comments. Yeah, and I can see, yes, Lavida Events telling us continue with your plans. Literally, what I'm seeing here is a lot of the events people joining in and saying, guys, we are ready, we are here, we're really going to jump over the hoops to make sure that this happens. You know, we want to make sure that your weddings, love prospers and love wins. I mean, we're here for you. We are really here for you.
And that doesn't mean that we have to cancel everything out. If you're a bride, or if you guys are a couple that still want to carry on with the event, the wedding that is, it doesn't have to look plain and very boring. We can bring in some character into the whole setup, and represent your personalities. I mean, now this is the time to bring the unconventional things you wouldn't put in a wedding.
And somebody has commented and said that I think people should send food through deliveries. Actually, guys, that would be a really dope plan. Imagine if you could send out, organize with, we really need support. And I think one of the things that needs to happen after this is done, guys, we really need to support local businesses. For real. Just for us to get out of this. Because if you think about it now, if you're doing a Zoom wedding, you can actually buy guys lunch. You can you can organize something with Jumia, or you can organize something with one of the restaurants. Right now, they'd be more than happy to deliver at your budget. If you're looking for 350, come on, KFC guys are having streetwise 350. Plus delivery 500 bob. It's a done deal, guys. Guys, eat on your accounts.
Guys, it is possible. It is very possible.
Somebody says we love the virtual background idea. We can see Lucy saying we love the deliveries. Yes, we know, Lucy, you do amazing hampers. We will definitely be collaborating.
Yeah.
And I can see House of Dotty saying postpone, don't cancel. Exactly. Very true. Don't cancel. Love has to win, guys. This doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Postpone it to even next year, December. It's still a possibility. Actually, it gives you more time to plan and get clarity in your planning. And I'm seeing a lot of postpone, don't cancel, love wins. I can see a couple here, the Morayas, who had their wedding recently, destination. How timely, right? Let's see. So actually, this is really cool. With Wanjiro has a comment here that says Zoom backgrounds also mean you can have a beach wedding. Yeah, themed weddings. You can still have your destination wedding.
And you can decide not to wear your shoes as well to keep within the theme. have a fan to blow some wind.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and then sound now the DJ can do a virtual mixing for
yes.
ocean sounds.
You can even have your service providers all logged into this Zoom call for special effects. Guys, we're trying to say that the possibilities are endless.
Yes.
The events sector is ready to power through this and find solutions around it. I mean, there are venues who are ready to do virtual tours on phone. There's so many possibilities here. All you need to do is just let us know what your challenges are. We can point you in the right direction. It's just a phone call away. I mean,
and it's also possible if your wedding is later on in the year and maybe you're stuck in a different county, we are very available to actually put together virtual mock setups. So that means whatever we've agreed on in matters visual and the look and feel of the tablescape, for example, we can put that together for you, give you a virtual tour. You can give your recommendations, what to remove, what to add. So it's very possible to actually plan your wedding during this season. So it's not time for us to actually sulk and feel sorry for ourselves. We can pick up ourselves and actually do something good.
Yeah, we can. So we're trying to keep it within the time limits as well. So maybe you can sample some of the questions on Facebook.
We have a comment by Karen Joroge, and she's saying, I think Rona is making us go back to basics. Very true, very true. It also giving us a perspective of what were weddings for in the first place. Because initially people would just go to the river and they were carried.
And then disappear.
And you disappear. So right now we thank God there's platforms that can allow you to be seen when you're being taken. You can still witness.
I feel like one of the things I've also discovered with it is with wedding planning, and I can say this as somebody who has planned my own wedding, is sometimes it's true. We get lost in all the details that you forget what the really important thing is.
Exactly.
In fact, a lot of the times when we talk to our couples, we keep telling them, imagine, don't stress. As long as the pastor shows up and that certificate can be signed and the two of you will say, I do.
Yeah.
Essentially, and you have witnesses, obviously, because she's not a union unless it's witnesses.
Exactly.
If those guys remain constant, everything else, honestly, sometimes becomes fluff, So we always keep saying, even when you've planned everything, you've tried to make, we always have that vision of what's going to happen on the day. Please, in fact, we always say 3 days before, a week before would be ideal. Disengage. Hand over to, that's why I feel like I'm preaching to like all the planners. Planners, you feel me, yeah?
I'm sure
You just hand over everything in advance so that you as a couple are able to step back and begin to get excited about the process.
Exactly.
Build up to the day, the morning. On the day, I remember, and this is also this chart is authentic. So I will be honest, things happen. Murphy's Law is real, okay? Hence Rona. I remember on my wedding day, sitting down, and I was at the high table and there was a speech happening. And I turned around and I could see through the tents, because there were like pergola tents, which we have. You should check them out on our page. So, and I looked across and I saw through the pergola tents and the food tent, the skirting on the table had just dropped. And I remember,
I'm sure
I had a mini, and I had to have a conversation with myself, like, is that skirting really going to, has anybody died? No. Is it earth shattering? No.
I can
In fact, 90% of the people are looking at us and not the table. I just had to woosa myself back into the moment. So guys, there are things that will happen. It's life. I don't even know that anything runs smoothly. It happens. Of course, there was somebody who was quick to piece it together. By the time I blinked and came back, it had already been sorted. Guys, just learn to take a back seat and rejoice. Enjoy your day. It passes so fast. I promise you. I remember out of all the months of planning, and it was a hectic year. Imagine if I do this for a living and it's still hectic. And it's hectic because of emotions.
Imagine.
Again.
You get very invested.
I know. And I remember after all that, waking up the next morning and looking across on the bench in the room, and I just saw my wedding dress and my evening gown. I was like, that was it. It's gone. It's a wrap. So guys, enjoy the build up to it. Enjoy these hurdles. Even this time of Corona, you will come back and look back at it and say, yo, Do you remember the challenges we had that time?
Yeah.
There was coronavirus. The numbers went down. We were able to have a budget-friendly wedding.
Sanitizer.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, and you can see here, as Gloria saying, with a planner, you essentially be a guest at your own wedding. It's true. Very, very true. Because if they walk with you through the journey, throughout, they're not strangers to the process.
Exactly.
They know everybody. They were there in the negotiations.
Yeah.
And the best part about it, oh my God, I remember that there was a wedding we had in Naivasha. And we were working with La Vida Events. Hey, Tasha. And I remember at some point at midnight, the hotel, I won't say John, the hotel, because again, I said Murphy's Law, it happens, okay? So in communication, there was the Mbuzi at midnight for the evening party it was not materializing for the kitchen. At that point, that if there was no planner, who's going to handle that? It's either one of your relatives or you guys will have to be pulled in to handle that
start
crisis.
Receiving phone calls and all those things.
And the best part about having somebody to walk through that journey is ensuring that if there's anything that's coming, they have the mandate to just smooth. You'll be hearing a story about it later, like, and the way that Nyama was born,
there was no
sorted. You know, you don't have to be part of that drama in the background.
Yeah.
Again, we found that most times when there's a committee, they also want to enjoy the wedding. So when you're giving them the hassle of where we are,
so you're struggling with people who are
what do you guys just leave that's my wedding for me. and having just your guests come and feel like guests. Enjoy the whole experience of what you've been planning throughout the time.
Yeah.
It's so important because otherwise we don't want on the day where the event decor team, we're also becoming semi-planners there where somebody walks in the absence of a planner, they're coming in like, sasa niwekele keki wapi, and you're like,
and it happens 99% of the time, even though we are saying we do not want it to.
And the truth of the matter is, we will not let anything fall through the cracks. At the end of the day, if it looks, we're a team. If it looks bad on you, it looks bad on us. Yeah. It reflects negatively on us. So save your guests and suppliers that are not involved. There are times we've had to be barmen, we've had to be servers and a catering table because there were details that were missed out, but we just plugged into that situation. Yeah. And we always keep saying, man, and we could just get up, you know.
And I think what we're trying to basically say is use this time wisely. Interact with the specific vendors you want to have on your day. Through virtual communication, so there's Zoom, there's WhatsApp, videos, you can even decide to log in when not on Instagram. I think that fits the purpose.
Yeah, because you just have an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that you can also ask for recommendations. You have enough time right now, guys, to go through social media, find the work they've done before,
have live interviews.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, you can have a panel with your spouse to be and decide today we are interviewing suppliers.
I can see planners here joining in and saying that what planners go through behind the scenes, we would need to form a separate coffee date. I feel like here we might even be opening Fungua Roho sessions where people can just tell you their experiences and you learn from them.
And we can turn it to the 2 p.m. confessions.
Yes. Yeah. So I think because we have to keep it to 1 hour, we want to thank you all for joining in. We're going to upload this footage, I guess, rembesha it a little bit. We're extra. I think as the moment we sat down as a team and agreed that there was going to be a live session going on, oh my God. Let me tell you,
a tour.
Literally, we had been looking for an opportunity to decorate. That's how we've been struggling. We've been decorating our kitchen tables, our houses, so we're really looking forward to do mock setups for you virtually. Like literally, we're doing this on a day-to-day basis, but you're not seeing it. Yeah. I think we're probably gonna start posting it. So we're going to put together this content just in case you missed, and when we put it up, please share widely so that this can help somebody in this duration of planning. Exactly. And we'll show you, we've done a mock setup actually to be able to show you the distancing. A table of 10, just for example, a table of 10 in this era of social distancing will take 4. And that's 2 meters Yeah.
1.5 meters.
It's 2 meters actually.
Oh, it's 2.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's 2 meters across. Perfect social distancing. And then you can
can
have your
sanitizer.
sanitizer, guys.
It can be a centerpiece.
It can be a centerpiece. We can incorporate it. We can put flowers around it. We can make it look gorgeous as a functional prop, okay?
Yeah.
Or giveaways right now of sanitizers and masks. Imagine if your masks were actually customized for people to log in with.
Exactly.
Guys, let's get creative. Don't stop dreaming. And as we're saying, the event industry, we are right behind you. Urban Live Events, we are here. If you have any questions, any comments, like our pages. We are on Instagram, Twitter. We have a Pinterest page.
Yes.
Please follow our work as well. Even after this, if you remember a question, feel free to inbox us, reach out to us. Our email address is info@urbanlive.co.ke.
Yes.
info@urbanlive.co.ke.
We also have a website as well. Well, the things we are talking about here, for example, initially when we were talking about not being a bridezilla or a groomzilla, those are things we have on the blog. We have concept to reality blog posts, so it can help you, bring up some creative juices, especially during this Corona season.
So back to, as we wrap it up, what that would look like if you engaged us as your event and decor specialist is we actually put together a deck, step by step, that visually shows you what your wedding would look like. And then what we also do now, when you go to our website and visit our blog, we've actually put up some of the features of some of the weddings, of what we give them as a concept and the reality. So you're able to see it's not a situation where venye mulisema na situation kwa ground,
Different.
Absolutely not. So this is a good time to actually just be able to have conversations with us. If you have any questions, if you're looking for vendors, please reach out to us. And for all the people in the industry that have joined this chat, thank you. Thank you immensely for your support. Asanteni sana.
Yes.
So
we also want to give a shout out to Shiru Mwai. Whoop, whoop. We want to give a shout out to Carol Muasia. Thank you for logging in and for engaging with us. Kamau Gidhae, Ka Maina, just to mention a few. Thank you for logging in here, and we hope that this conversation can still continue and you can keep engaging with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to thank a lot of people who've also logged into our Instagram page. I think we can look up it, so we'll shout you out, and thank you so much for joining us. Please spread widely once we share the footage of this. If you feel it's useful, if you feel like there's something that we should have addressed or broken down further, please also. We really love constructive criticism. Anything that will help us grow and make things look better. Asanteni sana, and this is our time to say goodbye. Until next time, we'll see if this will turn into a channel.
We can sanitize now.
Okay, we end with stay safe, guys. Sanitize.
Just sanitize.
Wear your masks.
Yes.
Social distance.
Social distance.
Stay home. Stay safe.
Sounds like a song.
And it's a wrap. Thank you, guys. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
So end.